Okay. So, let's try one. Here's our function, and different things are happening at different intervals here. Okay? Now, we can go with what Alex said, and that might be kind of fun. So let's try it. Let's take this first equation, which I'm going to rewrite as y equals x plus 2. Does anybody have a problem with that? Y equals x plus 2. And I'm going to put 0 in for my x. Okay? Put 0 in for my x. So if I put 0 in here, that means I get 0 plus 2. So what is 0 plus 2? 2. So the point is, now I did f of 0 and I got 2. That's like you made a prediction. You know what I'm talking about? F of 0, 2. So the point is 0, 2, where my graph is going to start. Okay? So I'm going to go up here to 0, 2. And I'm going to notice that this is a less than, so that's just going to be an open circle. Okay? So where is the line? Well, the line has a slope of what?
1 over 1.
1 over 1. So this stuff is happening less than 0, though. So this stuff is happening over here. So if I go 1 over 1, 1 over 1, 1 over 1, I'm not going to get anywhere.
Right, you're going to have to go
So I should go
negative 1 over negative
down 1, negative 1, down 1, negative 1, down 1, negative 1. And I'm only going to start it right here. And I'm going to be very accurate. This should hit every corner. A slope of negative 1 should hit every corner as I go out of here.
Yeah. Because that's C right here x. Before x is your
Well,
slope. And since
what
there's
I'm
nothing
curious
there,
of
it's
is-
understood to be 1. Right?
So
So that
you
would be 1 over 1. Because 1 over 1
use
equals 1, right?
the 0 or whatever number they
So
give
then
you
your
on
slope
the
is 1
side
over 1,
as your
which
x
is the same
number.
as negative
Yes.
1 over negative
Okay,
1.
that's where I
That's
got
what we're
lost
doing.
when we were trying to
Negative 1, negative 1,
point.
negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1.
Okay, we got to graph the other piece now. The other piece is f of x equals x. That's interesting. So it tells me to put in 0 for this one too. So f of 0 means I'm going to put a 0 in right here. So what would I get?
0.
I would get 0, right? So my other start is going to be at 0, 0. And I need to fill that in because it's greater than or equal to. What's your slope of this line? 1 over 1. Which way am I going?
Positive.
And
I'm
over,
going,
up and over.
be careful, I'm going right here. What does it say?
Greater
Greater than,
Or
so I'm
equal
over
to.
here. I'm going everywhere on my x-axis that's greater than. So I'm going to go 1 over 1, 1 over 1, 1 over 1. You got your pattern. Make sure you hit every corner.
Mrs. DK,
Yes.
if I came towards the end of this period, are you going to go right to the end of the period? Or I got to talk to you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can work something out.
Or what do you have next period?
You could do it like the beginning and next
Okay,
period would be
I'll
good.
come up then.
That'd be great. Thanks. Okay, so there's your piecewise function. Okay?
Wouldn't there be a line connecting both dots? Because if you put those two things in, it shoots from one to the other.
Are you talking about right here?
Yes.
No, because this tells me, this is a function, first of all. If you do the vertical line test on here, this is a function because where do I touch the graph? Not here, because that's an open circle. That is not a graph. It only touches it right here. So that tells me at 0,
It's a function.
I get 0. That's it. If I go anything less than 0, I'm going to be here, and if I go anything greater than 0, I'm going to be here. Or equal to 0. What's my domain?
All real numbers.
The wideness. Am I infinitely to the left?
Yes.
Am I infinitely to the right?
Yes.
Do I have any gaps in the middle?
No.
No. I'm all real numbers.
What was the
What do you mean
horizontal
gaps
line
in the
test
middle?
Like up here, Natalie, when I was doing this one, it didn't have any gaps this way, but it had gaps this way. If I, between my hands, there is no graph. That's a gap. This graph only exists from here on up.
Oh, okay.
And this graph only exists from here on down. It doesn't exist anywhere in here. Okay?
What was the horizontal line test for?
If it was 1 to 1. Okay? All right. So now I do my up and down. Am I infinitely high?
No. Yes.
Am I infinitely low?
Yes.
Do I have any gaps?
No.
If I start closing, do I have any gaps? There's a graph all the time, isn't there?
Yep.
So what is my range?
Yeah.
All real numbers.
And so that wouldn't be 1 to 1 then, right?
No, it's not 1 to 1. Because
Wait.
at 1, y is either,
Oh, there's no graphs
I
because
shouldn't say that.
at
Yes, when y is 1, x is either -1 or 1. See, so I'm kind of confused there.
oh, okay. So that's why there's no graphs is because they kind of run beside each other
What do you mean there's no graphs?
or gaps.
Yes, there's no gaps because if I'm looking at this function, can you see a graph?
Yes.
Can you see a graph?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see a graph?
Yes.
I'm looking for a place that you cannot see a graph. Can you see a graph?
Yeah.
Can you see a graph? You can see a graph. That's why there's no gaps.
Oh, okay.
Up here, you could see a graph. You could see a graph. You could still see a graph if I was right here, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But if you look right in between here, you can't see a graph. That's a gap.
Okay.
There's no graph there. That means for these values of y, this cannot exist. That should seem weird to you. Let me show you something off the subject for just a minute. I want to show you a function that might help you understand that just a little bit better. If I had a function, well, you know this isn't going to be a function because it can't have an x on the bottom, but let's pretend it's a relation anyway, and I want to graph it. 3 over x minus 4. All right? That's a relation. It's not a function because the x can't be on the bottom, right? Not a linear function, I should say, right?
Yeah.
But what if x was 4? What is f of x? What is f of 4? What if I put a 4 in for x?
It'd be
You would get 3
0
over 4
undefined.
minus 4, which is 3 over 0, which is
Undefined.
undefined. So for this function right here, the range is everything except when x is 4. When x is 4, this function cannot exist. Okay? So that's why you might have a gap. Because there are functions that aren't true. Here's another function that could not ever happen because it can't be true. You can't take the square root of a negative number, ever.
Because you can't times two things
That-
together and get a negative
exactly.
number.
That would have a range. This would have like no range. This cannot exist. Okay? So you have to be careful about those.
Okay, so you know that thing we were talking about last time? My idea that I was thinking
Yes?
doesn't work.
Okay.
But I did find the way to
Good.
find points. It's super easy.
Glad you did it. Yes.
So,
Well, yes, and they were right here. Yeah. Okay? Okay, so what I want to do right now is there's way more in this lesson, but I want you to practice that part right now. We can practice the first one together. Okay?